Hello guys, how are you doing? Peace be upon you all around the world. So in this video I'm going to do this tutorial or whatever. So we're going to create this task. So in JavaScript HTML, we could add a bit of CSS at the end of the video if was time there. So for instance, if I enter a name like Muhammad and click on submit, I have to get it here. And also if I can, for instance, this long line and click submit, is going to add it here. So how to create that using HTML and JavaScript? Alright, so let's go back here. I'm using Visual Studio. So I already opened this file, file.html. So what I do, print this and call it here, for instance, GC, and in the body section we're going to create a div and here form and give it a class of form. Alright, now just remove this action. We don't need any action right now. Inside the form we're going to create an input and give it a text, type of text, an ID of, for instance, task, and a placeholder of enter your mission. And for the ID we already entered it, so we could give it a name of task, for instance. Alright, another input, and this for the button. So type submit, and the ID we're going to give it submit. Alright, and after that we're going to create a list or another list UL and give it class of tasks like this. So up to now we ended with the body or the HTML structures or whatever and here, so this is just a submit button. It's not going to do anything because we didn't type anything, just to give it a bunch of stuff here. So let's go back to our script or JavaScript script. Inside of scripts we're going to do document dot add event listener. Inside of that do DOM. It's a shortcut of document object model. I'm going to content loader. And here function like this, and let me go do this here. After that we're going to make this button default disabled, by default disabled, because we could here print any something, but if I want the user, if there ain't no text inside the text box, this button be disabled. So by default submit button is disabled. And to do that, or you do document dot query selector, query selector, and we want the submit button, and we give it an ID of submit dot disabled equal to true, like this. If we save it, the button is disabled right now. But if I type something, it's still disabled. I wanna, when I type something in it, or if a text, there is a text or anything inside the box, text box, I want the submit button to be undisabled. And to do that is just easy. First of all, we have to so let me remove this. We're going to do an if statement on if there is a text inside the box. To do that, document dot query selector, and we want the text, so we give it an ID of task. So task dot on key up if there is a text or something on the text box. I want to run a function, or this function. I want to run it this function, and this function if statement. So we're going to do an if statement. If document that query selector of a task here, so give it task dot value dot length is greater than 0. So if there is any letter inside the box, I want to do something. So if there is a letter inside the box, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this, or just copy it and pass it here and make it to false. Alright, make it false. Else return it back to true. That's it. So if I save this and go here and type, for instance, pi, and click on submit, it's going to disappear. Or just enter one letter and the button is you could click on it. If I remove this letter, it's going to return to its value disabled. So that's it. Now I want, when I click here and submit, to add it to a list here, to add it to a list. So the list is might not seems here. So let me show you. If I save it, so that's why I want to look out. So I want to create a list that we could add it from JavaScript to this class. That's it. On this list, it could enter anything in it and add it to this page. So that's it. So that's what I'm creating here, an older list, and you could create anything like older list, and do here anything like this. And it's be 1 and 2 and 3, for instance, text 1, text 2, and text 3. You could leave it like this. There ain't no problem with that. So let me just remove this unordered to olders. Alright, up to now we are good. What I'm going to do now is to make this active when I type something and enter display on the screen here in the bottom. So to do that, let me say like document dot query selector dot submit, or we need the form now, dot form, there's this form dot on submit, because when I type something in the form and I click submit in the form, I want to happen a function. So in form, this form, entire form, I click on submit to run a function. So we could just do it like this, and this function is to add this text inside the box to the list that we entered here. All right. Or all the lists that we entered here. So to do that, let me do document dot query selector. We want here the On click, we want to add here the task. So we want the task to be task dot value, and we want to create an element or a list to add it here. So to do that, a document dot create element, and let's call it li, for instance, and let's give it here a value or a const, like a constant of task equal, and here also let do const of li equal to this. Then I want the li, this list that we created, to equal in what we entered in the task. So to do that, li make it equal to dot inner HTML. So here to add the text, inner HTML equal to task, like this. If we save it, actually nothing going to happen right now, but we have to continue to add it to this older lists. So to do that, document dot query selector, we want now the tasks, so we give it an ID, a class of tasks, and dot append, well, we want to append the li. Alright, if we save it and click something and click on submit, nothing going to change because we didn't end it yet. Then we want so if we open the console, if we type something, submit, it's like something types and remove faster on the console, as you see here. But we have to stop submitting. To do that, just return false and start adding to the list. Alright, but as you see here, when I type something, so if I reload the page and type, for instance, Python and click on submit, it's still Python here, and I don't want that. And also the submit button return to its place. So if I remove this, I have to remove it, then type something else. To do that, or you're gonna do a document. Just let's select this, type line, pass it here. This is change it to task, and we don't need to append anything, but we wanted that value, its value to equal an empty string. So if I entered something like D, submit, nothing here, but the button is still clickable, so I could add empty orders. So I don't want that too. So to do that, all I do just to make the document.object model all you gotta do, just make this copy it, so I'm sorry, copy this entire line, go back here and paste in this place. So if I enter, for instance, this, it's returned to its place, and this and this and this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is how to do this in JavaScript. You could of course add a bit of style into it. To do that, let me just link it. So link style dot CSS, save it. Let's just go here, add a file, call it style dot CSS, and let's call the div that we created, div, and give it a padding of, for instance, 10%, and give it a background color, to steel blue, and give it a display to flex, and justify content to center. That's it. So as you see here, and we could do something like the body, make it so the body make 0 padding, 0 margin 0. That's it. And we could edit a little bit this like the form, but we don't need the form. I need to edit this. So to do that, like make the padding of 10 pixels. As you see, it's bigger, and the width to 300 pixels. Let me just resize it here to 200, and this make it to 10. Better. The same thing, we're going to the button, do the same thing with the button, or submit, the width, make it still. All right, like this, and make the color of the submit to black, or make it white, and background color, make it to this color, for instance. And that's it. And the cursor, pointer, so if I enter, for instance, here Muhammad, and enter submit, it's going to give me here Muhammad, because here I entered the older list inside the div, so I remove it. So if I entered anything like these letters, it's going to show at the bottom, and so on. You could add anything as you want, but I want to make these older lists have a padding, so I'll do this .this li, because we created that, and give it a padding of top of 12 pixels, 0 to the left, so as you see here, and give it a background color to light gray, but I won't make that to the entire page, so like this. Background, so let me remove this. So the entire page. So that's it. And you could here add anything, and so on.